I wanted to talk about a vision that I just got, okay? Just gonna jump right in. There's let's say it's a male, it's a masculine energy, sitting in a rather high place. I don't know what that means, but they're sitting in a high place. And this is a rather, this individual, oh, I'm getting cold. Exactly. This individual is cold, but it's because they've had to be cold. Like, nobody would envy their position, is what I'm hearing. So there is a masculine here in the high place looking out, and they have a very tough position, a tough call to make, because they know because they're aware of what they decide, or that what they decide will have consequences, as with anything. So this individual is like, I'm going to have to make a decision that's going to have devastating consequences, but it has to be done. This could be someone who's noticing that another person is hurting, or other people, could be more than one, hurting. Or maybe they realize that this is going to cause hurt, this decision. I can literally see it. I see let's say it's a man. It looks like a man. It's kind of far off though. Like somebody who's very distant, or they seem distant right now, but it's because they're formulating some sort of a plan, I guess, and they're considering the decision that they're going to have to make. They already know what they're going to have to make. They know. Now there's options, but all of them have consequences. And so they know that the decision they're going to have to make will definitely cause pain, but there's already pain anyway. It's almost like putting something out of its misery. That's such a chilling vibe I'm getting. But someone here, maybe this masculine energy, this individual, at least I think it's a person, who is like, well, I'm gonna have to put them out of their misery, so I'm gonna have to make this difficult decision, although I know what it's gonna cause, but otherwise they're suffering. It's like if there's an animal or something that's hurt and someone wants to put the animal out of its misery, so they execute it. Someone's going to execute a decision. There's a decision that they are making. They already know the one that they're going to have to make. It's any decision that they would have had to make in this situation would have not been favorable completely. It would have always had some sort of unfavorable consequence. But there's a lot of suffering, and in order to stop the suffering, see, that's the interesting thing, because it's like this person doesn't want the suffering, but at the same time they're causing more suffering. I guess sometimes you have to cause more suffering if you don't want suffering. Let me think of an example that we can use this. Please give me an example, Spirit, to use here. What is something that causes suffering? To stop causing suffering, but it causes more suffering. It causes more suffering to stop causing suffering, but either way, there's still suffering. It's not coming to me. Well, war. War would be a good example. Let's create this war because we want to stop our suffering, what we feel we're suffering from, but then we're going to cause more suffering over here. As within, so without. This message is about suffering. It isn't at all emotional. It isn't at all heartfelt and warm. It's not scary either. There's no fear here. It's just a reality. It's the other side of things. We can talk about love all day. We could talk about whatever. But today it's about suffering. And but it's not an emotional suffering. I don't understand what do you mean by that? It's not an emotional suffering. It is an emotional suffering. Or maybe at this point it's just like, I don't care if they're suffering. They're suffering anyway, so we'll just shut them all up. It's like, I don't know, I kind of get, this is a terrible example, but I'm seeing like a teacher. I'm actually seeing Miss Trunchbull from Matilda, and that's a nightmare. She was like the principal, wasn't she? Yeah, it's like a leader. There's like a masculine leader here. It could be in the world, you know, or maybe it's in a home, in a relationship, and someone's like, yeah, well, I might as well just end it because I know we're not happy together. That could be another situation, but I'm seeing it as grander even. I mean, it could be going on in different ways all around the world. But here, I'm getting a teacher, but like the Trunchbull, in class, and one student, like maybe the class is told not to speak or something, right? Like, you know, oh, anyone, I'm gonna walk outside for a minute, and you guys better be quiet. And I don't want to get any bad review or bad report on you or whatever. Mind your manners or whatever. And then the teacher comes back, and one student disobeyed or something like that. And this Trunchbull now then punishes everyone in the class and says, well, we're not going to recess today. We're not eating lunch. You can't have any water and no bathroom breaks. It's like, what? How are we being punished for this one person? You know? So maybe the one person here is like a government, and the rest of the class, which is the people, the civilians, are like, why are we suffering or being attacked? Why are we being punished for this person? So we all go down because this person decided to not follow the rules. But then at the same time, it's like everybody's being put in the chokey. You hear my cat? She's speaking. What you gotta say, Kiki Mama? I'm seeing a vehicle get shot at, but it's like bulletproof. It's like bulletproof. It's like, well, as long as we're protected, as long as I'm protected, or as long as, like, I don't care what happens to y'all. It's almost like intentionally causing suffering, you know? Maybe this one person in the class wants to cause the suffering because they're so unhappy in their life, or maybe they know that they have to abide by some sort of rules, so they're like, I don't know, like a traitor. She says, yeah, there's a traitor here. They don't care. They don't care who hurts, as long as I'm hearing their sadness is avenged, or their people are avenged, or, you know, it's like mindlessly, carelessly, heartlessly causing suffering, more suffering, and on the teacher's part too, because that's fucked up, you know what I mean? Like Miss Trunchbull over here, the one who's like really in charge, right? It's like, y'all could actually stop this. You could stop this, but you're not stopping this. And you know why you're not stopping this? Because you get some sort of sick fixation from it, don't you? It's like, because Miss Trunchbull hated children. If you watch the movie Matilda, she hated them. She would lock them in the chokey. She was evil. Completely evil. She was like, children are like worms and dirt and all these things, you know? And it's like, but then why would you work in a school if you don't like children? So you can torture them? But then you want them to obey you. You want them to obey you, but you're torturing them. So you want the people to abide by your laws and rules, but you're torturing them. Not letting them go outside and breathe unpolluted air, not letting them eat food that is not grown in a lab, not consuming things that are good not only for our bodies but for the environment. Just basically like watching people suffer, getting off on people suffering. It's like, it makes this Trunchbull feel more powerful. But then where does this man come in my vision? Is the man Mr. Trunchbull or Miss Trunchbull? I don't know, because the vision, I'm seeing it clearly. It's like looking down. It could even be someone who like looks down on people. You know, they're like, they look down on people. And they can say all day, oh, we don't want you to suffer. But they're not coming down and suffering either, are they? They're having everybody else doing the suffering for them. They're not really suffering. They're not the ones suffering. It's everybody else who's suffering. They're just observing it. It's like these mastermind magicians. I saw it the other day. I'm seeing these mastermind magicians all over who are like a bunch of trunchbulls all over the world, and they're just laughing at their classroom full of insubordinates, full of people who don't listen to them, and it's like, y'all are gonna suffer. And then it's like, okay, well, once you kill all the students in every class, let's say every class is a different country, right? I'm seeing a hall in a school, and you've got this and this and this government and these leaders and this and this and this and this and this, whatever, okay? And all the doors have different places on them, different leaders, and then you've got the one big president, you know, you've got the one principal in the school, and the head, the lead. What happens if all the students die? Because they're worthless, right? And they all die. Are all the teachers going to sit there and have a conference with each other then? What if one of them talks out? Are they going to not have recess for the day? Are they going to get to go lock in the chokey? Is that where they're going to go? What happens when all the teachers and the principal and all of them have to come together because all the students are dead? Then what happens? This is literally someone who like deems themselves, or a group of people all around the world who deems themselves as like powerful, intelligent, smart, you know, whatever, right? But it's like, yeah, you're not the one down here with everyone suffering. Why don't y'all come on down here and feel what we feel? Why don't y'all eat what we eat? Why don't y'all breathe the air we're breathing? Why don't you? You've got all the answers, but there's no solution. Because unless the solution is to kill us all, well, why don't you come down with us since you're so high and mighty? Come on down, all of you. Let's have one big classroom. Let's just get everyone together, and then we'll have all the teachers and the leaders and the one principal, whoever that is. We'll get them all together, and we'll just watch, and then you can kill all of us, and then let's see what happens to y'all, right? That's not going to happen. And then you got a teacher from this classroom who's like, you know, they see somebody from the other classroom down the hall and they take them and they capture them and they put them in their classroom, and they're like, hey, we got so-and-so over here in our classroom because they were walking up and down the halls. It's like all about control, territory, and the principal's just sitting back watching this happen. Why? Here we go. So I'm getting something else. Now we have a mascot. Do you know what this mascot? Scott could be someone's name. Scott, Scotland, Scottish. Do you know what this mascot looks like? It has horns. It has horns. And it has more of an energy of evil. It's the mascot of this school, this worldwide school. So it's not really that the principals of all these little whatever, it's not that the principal is necessary, but it's like the principal is corrupt. It's like one big school. We're all students here. It's like one big worldwide school with all these little classrooms and halls. It's like when you're growing up in elementary school and they decorate the halls. You have certain halls that, I don't know if they did that where y'all were at. They did it where I was at. And we had like little, like the halls were called something different. Like our hall was called the Bear Bunch. I'm dead serious. It was called the Bear Bunch. And they would always decorate it. But to each school, there's always one mascot. And I'm seeing the whole entire world right now as one school. And this evil mascot that is like controlling, literally controlling everything. So what do we do? Just burn the school? I mean, because at this point, it's really all corrupt. The mascot is the whole entire face for the school. So do we burn the whole school up? Do we destroy the school, which in this case would be the world? That's what I'm getting for today. And if this isn't like a world event or worldwide thing, it is an individual person perhaps who's examining literal chaos around them. It could be their relationship is terrible and they know it and they need out and they're like, okay, this is going to cause some suffering. on my family's part, their family's part, on the kids, if there's kids, everybody's going to suffer a little bit here. It's going to be not favorable at first, but this is something I have to do. So either way, we're all suffering because I'm not happy here. It could be someone who's looking out and they're like, I'm not really digging this career path anymore. It's just constant headaches. I'm always stressed. It's shortening my lifespan because I'm always under stress, and stress kills. And I'm going to have to make some decisions here that are going to cause suffering. It could cause financial suffering, whatever it is. It's like, but it's something that I'm going to have to do because it's all going to hell. It's all going to shit. I'm seeing like a bulldozer, a bulldozer or an excavator, that just tears something down. It just goes right through it because it's like, well, they're suffering on this side and they're suffering on this side. They're suffering within. So we're just going to bulldoze it. We're going to demolish it and start all over. I'm hearing something very specific right now, and then I'm going to get off here. I'm hearing these hands cause war. These genitals cause war. These eyes cause war. This tongue causes war. This mouth causes war. These feet cause war. Debilitate us. Debilitate us, snuff out the fire. It's like putting a plate over a candle that's lit and watching the flame snuff out slowly. I'm not sure there's an answer to this message other than it's just kind of a realization of something going on. Where does it lead? I don't know, but I think it leads to suffering, but there's no getting around suffering. There's suffering every day. There's suffering 24/7, just like there's goodness 24/7. There's always, there's goodness in suffering. As hard as that is to, and especially right now, it's very hard for me to even say that. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that when I'm seeing just the things that are going on. It's disgusting, but it's like, there's got to be something inside of you that's like, okay, what's coming out of it? But I don't know what's coming out of it at this point. I mean, it's hard to kind of keep the faith here when it's like, we're killing each other. By lying to ourselves, we're killing each other by staying in situations that do not serve us, serve our higher self. They're a lie. We stay because we're afraid. We abide because we're afraid. We're killing each other, and we're killing ourselves. And then we get mad at people for bringing light to it. But it's like, okay, well, you can stay in the dark about it, but you're in it also. We're all in it. And even if it hasn't come to your front door yet, it's a matter of time because it's already here. It's everywhere. It's like a widespread disease or widespread attack, a widespread illness. But unlike any before, it's something that can't be, there's no vaccine for this. Aside from complete obliteration or annihilation, ending it completely. Now, these are big words and big scenarios I'm seeing, but if it is just a closer to home scenario, someone could definitely be like, as much as it pains me to let you go or to cut this connection off, I'm going to have to do it. It's like tough love in a way. I don't get any love in it, though. I feel like a decision is being made because it makes sense. It's not really about how anyone feels. It just makes sense to make the bleeding stop, to make the suffering stop, to make the pain cease. It makes sense. It's like a tourniquet. Amputation, spiritual amputation. Worldwide amputation, or a romantic amputation. It's like, this is not going to go anywhere, or it's only going to go in this one direction, and I'm going to observe it. It's like someone's been observing it, like this man in my vision, this male, this masculine in my vision. Someone's definitely been observing it. So it's not like a new thing. They've been observing it, the situation, and they are making a decision to end it all. Huh. What's interesting though is how this is going about is this could be, okay, let's go back to the school thing real quick. I'm seeing this man, in my vision, that's separate from the school, but the man in my vision is like almost like making a decision to end it all, end this suffering, but it's gonna, it's gonna cause more suffering up front, but it's gotta happen. It's like, because they keep coming, it's more vigorously, it's like we're gonna do a stricter treatment because it's not working. But here's the thing, I don't see this person doing shit, just like the people in the school I see in my head, the world as a school. I'm not seeing the principal do anything. I'm not seeing even the teachers do anything other than just enforce some rules here. And their people, the kids, the students are turning on each other because this person does this and then everybody gets mad at them and then it causes everybody else to blow. And it's like they're almost having the principal and the teachers and the mascot, they're not having to do anything really, because everyone else is doing it themselves because they are young and ignorant or naive, or this is what the leaders think. And if it's in a relationship here, you could have someone who has set the stage, so to speak, or they've made it possible. The moves that they've allowed to happen is like moving pieces on a chessboard. And whatever they've done or allowed, they're doing it specifically so that they can it's almost so that the blockage, the whatever's in their way of what they want will remove itself. And I'm going to leave it at that. Like the classrooms turn on each other or something, or within self-destruct. All right, love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.